In a legal sidebar from the Congressional Research Services, CRS, that was published on Thursday, analysts also laid out an additional consideration for Congress, including possibly clarifying the intent of the appropriations rider that provides the medical marijuana protections or legalizing cannabis altogether. The report first provided an overview of the long-standing spending bill rider covering DOJ that prevents the department from using its funds to interfere in state medical marijuana programs, with a focus on how different federal courts have ruled on the scope of those protections. On its face, the appropriations rider bars DOJ from taking legal action against the states directly in order to prevent them from promulgating or enforcing medical marijuana laws, CRS said of the policy, which was first enacted in 2014. In addition, federal courts have interpreted the rider to prohibit certain federal prosecutions of private individuals or organizations that produce, distribute, or process marijuana in accordance with state medical marijuana laws. Though in those cases, criminal defendants have invoked the rider before trial, seeking either the dismissal of their indictments or injunctions barring prosecution, it said. By contrast, courts have generally declined to apply the rider outside the context of initial criminal prosecutions. There are two distinct interpretations of how the rider should be applied that CRS focused on. One from the U.S. Court of Appeals for the First Circuit and another from the U.S. Court of Appeals in the Ninth Circuit. In a 2016 case, the Ninth Circuit held that while the rider prevented DOJ from preventing the implementation of the state medical cannabis laws, federal courts could still restrict registered patients from using cannabis as a condition of probation. The court also broadly ruled in a separate 2016 case that in order to be safeguarded under the appropriations policy, people must strictly comply with their state medical marijuana law. Individuals who do not strictly comply with the state law conditions regarding the use, distribution, possession, and cultivation of medical marijuana have engaged in conduct that is unauthorized, and prosecuting such individuals does not violate the rider, the Ninth Circuit Court said. The court also applied the standard to a later case involving two medical cannabis workers who were prosecuted for smoking weed or smoking marijuana while they were processing products for sale. Because the workers couldn't demonstrate that they themselves were registered patients, the Ninth Circuit said that they could be prosecuted regardless of the appropriations rider. But the First Circuit diverged from the Ninth Circuit interpretation in a 2022 case that involved medical marijuana cannabis workers in Maine who were accused of distributing large quantities of marijuana outside the state program and even to buyers outside the state. The First Circuit did allow the prosecution to go forward, but it disagreed with the interpretation about the need for strict compliance with state medical cannabis laws in order to enforce the congressional rider. This is ridiculous. We're arguing over, how strict or how loose we're acting with the laws. This is just goes to show you people, this is where we're fucking everything up right here. The court noted that the text of the rider does not explicitly require strict compliance with state law, and that given the complexity of the state marijuana regulations, the potential for technical non-compliance with state law is real enough that no person through any reasonable effort could always ensure or always assure strict compliance, CRS explained. Thus, the First Circuit concluded that requiring strict compliance with state law would likely chill state legal medical marijuana activities and prevent the states from giving effect to their medical marijuana laws. It remains to be seen whether and how the difference of reasoning between the Ninth Circuit and the First Circuit will make practical differences in federal marijuana prosecution, the report says. In theory, the First Circuit's analysis could make it easier for defendants to invoke an appropriations rider to bar federal prosecutions because they could do so even if they had not acted in strict compliance with state law. In practice, however, resource limitations and enforcement priorities have historically meant that federal marijuana prosecutions target only individuals and organizations that have clearly not complied with state law. Thus, one of the First Circuit judges who considered Bilodeau agreed with the panel's interpretation of the rider, but wrote a concurrence noting that in practice, the First Circuit standard might not be materially different from that one of the Ninth Circuit, he replied. CRS also noted other limitations of the appropriations rider, including the fact that Congress could repeal the protections or let the provisions lapse in a future spending bill. The protections also do not extend to adult use marijuana programs, despite several attempts by lawmakers to broaden the shield. Additionally, the policy only restricts actions of the Department of Justice and not other areas of the government. The analysis further notes that participants in the cannabis industry may face numerous collateral consequences arising from the federal prohibition of marijuana in areas including bankruptcy, taxation, and immigration. Many of those legal consequences attach regardless of whether a person is charged with or convicted of a CSA offense, meaning the rider would not affect them. It also said that because the rider broadly refers to marijuana without specifically dealing with its scheduling status under the CSA, the Biden administration's plan to reclassify cannabis with Schedule III drug would not affect the rider. Congress has the authority to enact legislation to clarify or alter the scope of appropriations rider, repeal the rider, or decline to include it in future appropriations laws. For instance, Congress could amend the rider to specify whether strict compliance or substantial compliance with state medical marijuana law is required in order to bar prosecution under the CSA, or provide a different standard that DOJ and courts should apply. Congress could also expand the scope of the rider to bar expenditure or funds on prosecutions related to recreational marijuana or other controlled substances. CRS also noted that Congress have wider latitude to affect federal marijuana laws outside the appropriations process. It could impose strict policies to increase DOJ's ability to enforce prohibition, or it could choose to enact proposals to end cannabis criminalization, for example. Additional proposals from the past few years could seek to address specific legal consequences of marijuana Schedule I status by, for example, enabling marijuana businesses to access banking services or removing collateral consequences for individuals in areas such as immigration, federally assisted housing, and gun ownership, it says. And that is the article from Marijuana Moment. Really interesting. I mean, you know, typically speaking, I don't think that we have a lot to worry about if our government gets their actual shit together and starts taking this industry more seriously. I'm just plugging my computer here, excuse me. I think it's interesting that they're starting to really debate this and start kind of picking this apart at a visceral level. I think we all should be a little bit concerned, but I also think that this is why, you know, people like myself, people like Jason and Jenny are hopeful that the Trump administration actually can get their shit together. We obviously have seen the massive fumbling of the marijuana industry, of the cannabis industry in general by the Biden administration. They have not given one shit about us at all. And now they're on their way out. And what's happening? Absolutely nothing when they have a chance. So I hate to say it, no one really gives a crap about this. You know, definitely no politician. Doesn't matter how much money's in it. We all have to band together. We all have to start really speaking up and start, carrying the same conversation. All of the bifurcation of this plan has done is exclude and alienate a lot of us in many different markets. And I think it's time to stop that. So hopefully we see our government get their act together. But love to hear what you guys think. Please comment and let us know what you guys have to say. This is Saman Razani, and thank you for listening.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Saman, do you think this hearing or whatever? Do you think there was a point to it? Do you think?
Say that one more time, Rico. Sorry, bud.
Do you think there's like a point to the? I mean, even to this hearing, it's not really going to do anything at all.
I mean, it doesn't sound like there's a super point, but other than I think it kind of coalesces with all these other conversations.
It's all theatrics.
Testimony. It's the expert testimony.
It's all theatrics.
We're giving at the DEA
More kabuki
hearing.
theater.
I mean, yeah, it's you have to understand that it's not that they don't want to have the conversation, that they're going to extract from those conversations exactly what they need to enact the laws they already have in mind to enact. So it's about who gets up there, what they say.
Oh, you're saying it's how they're going to justify it. Whatever they're going to do is they're going to pull pick and choose off of this and off of that for how they wanted it to go down in the first place, Saman.
100%. I mean, you're going to take, like, that's exactly.
So there's a predestined destination regardless. It's just a matter of whether you take route A, B, or C, you're saying.
That's absolutely true, my friend.
Interesting. So it's like using Waze for government relations.
It's like using Apple Maps. It's like Apple Maps, Google, and Waze fucking trifecta. You know what I mean?
No, Waze is the best because it tells you where the cops are.
There you go, Jason.
Yeah, there's nothing better than Waze.
I don't give a fuck about those new school graphics. No, nothing. Just show me where the cops are at, and I'm good to go.
I don't ever use Google. I don't ever use Apple. I don't use any of those things. The only thing that I use is Waze.
Nope. Yes, sir.
It just depends on where you're at. It just depends on when you're in the middle of the cut. Apple Maps is the way to go. Google Maps, other than that, is my go-to, man.
I'm able to make my ways around with Waze. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. So many ways to make your ways
exactly.
around.
Just like the Ways and Means Committee. You know what I mean?
Saman, you do have a point. Like, be careful using Waze when you're in the hood because you might end up someplace you ain't supposed to be.
Yeah, you want to cut through those side streets. You better be careful what city you in. That's
your car might be involved in the sideshow pretty soon. No, but one comment that you made, you said that you are hopeful about the Trump administration. What do you think the Trump administration is going to change?
I think the Trump administration is really focused on commerce, and I really think that they're going to take that initiative to really start to like create a method to this madness and say, hey, this is obviously here to stay. The genie is out of the lamp, my friends.
The fact that you're traveling with that thing,
hey, Jenny, this is what
he has a flying carpet, Jenny.
This is a Houdini.
You know, he's pulling that out in front of random chicks and be like, "Yo,
yes, rub my bottle."
Definitely not. But we all need our gimmicks out here. You know
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that.
I want one of those. I'm not gonna lie.
I bet you do.
Wow.
Look at that.
Branded merch soon.
I'm trying to keep it as neutral as possible here.
Is that because the poll is saying that you're a Trump supporter or you're anti-Trump?
I'm just trying to find out from you Trump supporters. I'm just trying to find out like what should we expect? I 100% agree that they're all about commerce. This is why I was vehemently against those dumbass Democrats like taking things the way they did. I'm like, yo, make this shit about the economy. People care about money. So what can we look forward to? If it's all about commerce, what are some of the things that you think that'll happen first?
Operation Choke Point, the removal of Operation Choke Point.
Okay.
That's one of the things that I'm super hopeful for in within the first 100 days easily.
Okay. And how would that affect immediately our industry?
What do you? Are you serious?
Hold on. No. It'll affect both access to banking and both people who have been debanked and had their assets frozen and taken because they're in an industry that the banks are considering not moral.
Yeah, I'm not. I promise on everything. I'm not gaslighting. I'm really asking.
I wasn't even trying to cut Jason off. I just knew I could get to the point faster than he could.
Stop it.
And it's 10:01. Shit, I'm just trying to keep things moving along. Listen.
Cute. Well, we did get a super chat from the C Word who says Trump is going to put a pot in every home and a dab rig in every garage in America.
This is what I want to say.
Yes,
I want to say the new motto is like, let's get to one system and then we can make America stoned again.
And Brian Dombrowski comes in with a super chat too. Thank you so much for that, Brian. He says Farm Bill 2025, and yes, that's Farm
right,
Bill.
baby.
That's right. We just keep on kicking the can down the road and allowing for THCA all day, every day, baby. I'm all about it.
Hold on. So.
What?
Keep on kicking the can down the road.
Yeah, I'm with that.
But I thought big changes were coming. See, this is what I'm asking you guys. Like you said,
big changes are coming, bro. Big changes are coming. So, sometimes the biggest change is no change, Rico. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're just using all bills to pay for everything.
Okay. Let's keep this